Have you ever thought your peaceful post-COVID mornings were helping your heart recover? What if I told you that the very habit you've come to rely on, those slow, quiet mornings spent lingering in bed, sipping coffee, avoiding activity, could be quietly damaging your heart without a single warning sign? It sounds absurd, even cruel, but that's exactly what doctors are now discovering. For many seniors, this well-intentioned recovery routine is one of the most overlooked threats to post-COVID heart health. After battling the virus, it's natural to feel exhausted, physically and emotionally. So when the body says rest, we obey. But here's the catch. There's a big difference between restorative rest and prolonged morning inertia. When seniors wake up and remain sedentary for hours, delaying movement, skipping sunlight exposure, even postponing meals, they unknowingly disrupt their heart's daily rhythm. This disruption isn't just about feeling sluggish. It's physiological. Your heart, already stressed by the lingering effects of COVID-19, relies on the first hour of the day to regulate blood pressure, circulation, and hormone balance. Skipping that early activation allows inflammatory markers to build, slows blood flow, and creates an environment ripe for clot formation and arrhythmia, especially dangerous in older adults. This isn't theory. It's happening quietly, in households everywhere. I remember a patient named Frank, 72, who thought he was healing smartly by taking it easy each morning. He survived COVID after all. He'd wake late, rest often, and avoid exertion. But one quiet morning, without any dramatic symptoms beforehand, Frank collapsed. Tests revealed silent but extensive cardiovascular strain, damage that had been accumulating with each unstructured morning. His doctor called it post-COVID cardiovascular dormancy, a new term that captures how modern rest habits can backfire. Seniors today are being lulled into a false sense of recovery. You survived the virus. But are your habits now helping or hurting your heart? If your mornings lack motion, hydration, and light, the answer might scare you. What feels gentle may be robbing your heart of its resilience. In the next section, we'll break down the widespread myths surrounding senior recovery and reveal why some of the most common advice, like listen to your body or take it slow, might actually be doing more harm than good. Because the battle isn't over when the fever breaks. For your heart, it's only just begun. For decades, seniors have been told that rest is the ultimate remedy, especially after illness. Take it slow, don't overdo it, and let your body guide you are phrases we've all heard, and perhaps even repeated ourselves. But what if that advice, though well-meaning, is dangerously outdated, especially in a post-COVID world? Here's the truth. The traditional concept of rest doesn't align with how your heart actually heals. After COVID-19, your body isn't just recovering from a respiratory illness. It's emerging from a systemic inflammatory assault that affected blood vessels, the nervous system, and yes, your cardiovascular rhythm. And while rest is essential in the acute phase of illness, continuing to take it easy weeks or months afterward, without structured movement or circadian alignment, can quietly sabotage your heart's recovery. This is where the myth needs breaking. Not all rest is healing. Passive rest, staying in bed, lying on the couch, skipping the morning walk, is vastly different from active recovery, which includes light movement, hydration, deep breathing, and daylight exposure to recalibrate your heart and hormones. Seniors often mistake inactivity for care, but in truth, the heart thrives on rhythm and gentle activation. One of the most misunderstood aspects of post-COVID recovery is that inflammation doesn't simply vanish after the virus clears. It lingers, and when the body stays motionless too long, that inflammation concentrates. Add to that delayed cortisol spikes from irregular wake-up times, reduced oxygenation from lack of movement, and poor glucose regulation from skipping breakfast, and you've created the perfect storm. Sadly, this storm brews silently. There's no crushing chest pain to sound the alarm. There's no dramatic warning. Instead, it shows up as persistent fatigue, lightheadedness, shortness of breath, or an irregular heartbeat brushed off as aging. But make no mistake, these are your body's whispers before the scream. Another dangerous myth is that seniors need more rest than younger adults. In reality, they need more targeted recovery, not endless downtime. The heart, especially after trauma like COVID, requires support to maintain elasticity, pulse integrity, and vascular tone. Without morning movement, these systems stagnate. What's even more alarming is that seniors often feel worse when they first try to be active again, mistaking that initial fatigue for a signal to retreat further. But that early fatigue is expected. It's not a sign of failure. It's the body reawakening. The longer you avoid that reawakening, the weaker the cardiovascular system becomes. So if you're still following the old rules, thinking that more rest equals better healing, it's time to update your playbook. The science has changed, and so must our habits. In the next part, we'll dive into a real-life case that illustrates just how quickly things can go wrong, and how a simple adjustment to your morning routine could mean the difference between decline and strength. His name was Raymond, 69 years old, retired carpenter, and proud grandfather of 4. He'd beaten COVID. That was the headline his family clung to. No ICU, no ventilator, just 10 tough days of fever and fatigue. His children called it a miracle. But the real story began after the recovery. Raymond, always an early riser before, now found himself sleeping longer, rising slowly, and avoiding movement in the mornings. He blamed it on age, on getting over the virus. He thought he was being wise, careful. But 3 months later, on a quiet Tuesday morning, while putting on his slippers, he blacked out. No chest pain, no warning. Just a quiet fall and a terrifying silence. When his wife found him, he was conscious but confused, drenched in sweat. At the hospital, the EKG showed something doctors called silent atrial fibrillation, a heart rhythm disorder that had likely been building quietly for weeks. But that wasn't the worst part. Blood markers revealed endothelial inflammation. Tiny blood vessels in the heart, damaged. A scan showed reduced oxygen delivery to the lower heart wall. The cardiologist asked about his routines, and Raymond's wife explained. Long mornings in bed, little movement, sometimes skipping breakfast. That's when the doctor leaned in and said something that stuck with me ever since. COVID may have ended weeks ago, but your heart was still under siege, just silently. It wasn't a second infection. It wasn't a hidden virus. It was a daily habit, repeated innocently, that denied Raymond's cardiovascular system the one thing it desperately needed: rhythmic activation. The body's natural systems rely on movement to flush inflammatory markers, regulate blood pressure, and prime the nervous system. When that system stalls day after day, especially in a senior recovering from COVID, damage accumulates slowly, until the system snaps. Raymond was lucky. He got treatment. He recovered again. But his story is a stark warning. So many seniors like him are unknowingly setting themselves up for cardiovascular collapse. Not with fast food or smoking or stress, but with stillness. With too much rest. With the quiet mornings that feel so peaceful but are physiologically dangerous. This isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a wake-up call. A real human life, nearly cut short not by the virus, but by the false safety of inertia. His story reveals something we all need to understand. What you do in the first 90 minutes after waking, especially post-COVID, can either help your heart heal or quietly cause it to fail. As we move into the next section, we'll count down the 5 most dangerous morning mistakes seniors make after COVID, and show you what to do instead. Because changing one morning habit might just save your life. Let's break down the 5 most dangerous morning mistakes seniors make after surviving COVID. Seemingly harmless habits that are, in truth, sabotaging heart health in silence. Habit number 5. Skipping water first thing in the morning. After hours of sleep, your body wakes up dehydrated, especially after COVID, when fluid balance is disrupted. Seniors often forget to drink water upon waking, opting instead for coffee or tea. But without water, blood becomes slightly thicker, circulation slows, and your already vulnerable cardiovascular system is forced to work harder. Dehydration alone can increase blood pressure and trigger arrhythmia in post-COVID hearts. Habit number 4. Scrolling in bed for too long. This is the modern trap. Phone in hand, seniors stay in bed, checking the news, the weather, messages, thinking they're easing into the day. But this delays vertical posture, reduces blood pooling in the lower limbs, a natural stimulant for circulation, and triggers passive stress from screen exposure. Cortisol, the wake-up hormone, becomes erratic. The body remains in a low-functioning pre-alert state that confuses the nervous system and burdens the heart. Habit number 3. Skipping breakfast or delaying it until mid-morning. After COVID, Many seniors experience appetite changes, and some skip breakfast entirely, believing they're doing a form of intermittent fasting. But for the recovering heart, this is dangerous. Breakfast helps regulate blood glucose and supports vascular function. Skipping it prolongs fasting cortisol surges, leads to sugar crashes, and deprives the heart of essential nutrients it needs for healing. A small, protein-rich, hydrating breakfast within the first hour is not just fuel. It's a protective ritual. Habit number 2. No morning movement. The idea that movement must be exercise is a myth. The body doesn't need a full workout, just intentional movement. Stretching, walking, even 10 minutes of joint mobility. Seniors who go straight from bed to chair to couch are denying their heart the mechanical rhythm that helps flush inflammation, improve blood flow, and stabilize cardiac output. The heart needs gentle motion in the morning, not prolonged stasis. This one habit alone, when corrected, has reversed early-stage heart strain in countless patients. Habit number 1. Treating every morning like a sick day. This is the most dangerous mindset. Post-COVID recovery often comes with fear, and understandably so. But when every morning is spent taking it easy, it reinforces fragility rather than resilience. Seniors who internalize the idea that they are weak, who cocoon themselves in stillness and delay, create a self-fulfilling cycle of decline. Healing happens through activation, not avoidance. And while caution has its place, so does courage. The heart responds to rhythm, sunlight, hydration, nourishment, and gentle challenge. Without these cues, even a virus-free body begins to deteriorate. So ask yourself, how many of these habits have quietly crept into your mornings? In the final part, we'll reveal a simple science-backed routine any senior can adopt post-COVID to help rewire their mornings, reignite their heart's natural rhythm, and reclaim true recovery. Without fear, without guilt, and without delay. So what does a heart-healing morning actually look like, especially for someone over 60, recovering from the invisible aftermath of COVID? The good news is that you don't need fancy supplements or extreme workouts. What your heart craves is rhythm, consistency, and respect. It starts the moment you wake up. Don't reach for your phone. Instead, sit up slowly, breathe deeply, and stretch your arms over your head to signal your nervous system that a new day has begun. Within 5 minutes of waking, drink a full glass of room temperature water. This gently activates your digestion, thins your blood, and kickstarts circulation. After that, step outside or open a window to get natural sunlight exposure. Even 5 minutes helps reset your circadian clock and regulate cortisol, improving heart rhythm and blood pressure. Then move. You don't need to jog or even leave the house. A 10-minute walk, marching in place, or gentle yoga does more than people realize. It massages your arteries from the inside out, prevents blood stagnation, and reminds your heart it's alive and needed. After moving, fuel your body. A simple breakfast, one with protein, healthy fat, and fiber, helps stabilize blood sugar, preventing the crash that forces your heart to work overtime. Think oatmeal with chia seeds and almonds, a boiled egg with whole grain toast, or even just a banana with a handful of walnuts. Then set an intention for your day, not for productivity, but for purpose. One of the hidden forces that heals the heart is connection, not just biologically through oxytocin and dopamine, but emotionally through meaning. Text a loved one. Water your plants. Read a page of a book you love. These small, soulful actions ground your nervous system and reduce the background stress that taxes the heart over time. And most importantly, be consistent. Recovery is not about intensity. It's about rhythm. If you give your heart the same nourishing cues every morning, hydration, movement, light, food, calm, it begins to repair the damage left behind by the virus, layer by layer. You may not feel the change overnight, but in 3 weeks? In 3 months? You'll wake up and realize something astonishing. Your heart feels strong again, not just physically, but emotionally. And if you've read this far, if you've recognized yourself in these words, then maybe, just maybe, you've been given a second chance not just at survival but at vitality. Don't waste it on slow, stagnant mornings. Build a rhythm. Reclaim your energy. Rewire your healing. And if you know someone, a parent, a partner, a neighbor, who survived COVID but now lives in quiet fatigue, share this with them. One small shift in the morning can echo throughout their entire day, and maybe even save their life. Because your heart didn't survive COVID just to give up now. It's time to rise, move, and reclaim your strength. One morning at a time.